my brain over here is just like a super slow dial-up 1990s computer that's trying to get onto the internet with the CD that came in the mail. And if you don't know what that is, yeah, I'm old. Hi everybody, it's actually Amanda, a woman living life at the intersection of autism, scoliosis, homeschooling, and real estate. I'm so happy and thankful that you have found me here on YouTube, and if you like the content that I produce, if you could consider giving me a like or ringing that bell to subscribe, or even dropping a comment down below, I would really appreciate it. Your engagement and your interaction helps other people be able to find my content, so again, thank you for being here. I'm truly honored to be able to create content for folks inside of the autistic community and folks inside of the, is it a scoliosis community? Is that what we would call ourselves? But anyways, just to be able to create content for folks that kind of understand this intersectionality in my life. So thank you again for being here. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into today's topic. So today, we're talking about something called Alexithymia. Now, you may not have any idea what that word means. I didn't know what that word meant until very recently, so I looked it up, and I actually follow quite a lot of content creators on Instagram and on YouTube, and this is something that gets talked about fairly often in the autistic community. Just because you experience alexithymia doesn't necessarily mean you're autistic, and just because you're autistic doesn't necessarily mean that you will experience alexithymia, but it does seem like there's quite a bit of overlap there, that if you are autistic, that you do experience this particular problem or this particular issue. So we're going to talk about it today, talk about what it is, and then I'm going to share some practices that I use to help me with it, because I experience this also. So first of all, what is it? Alexithymia is a term that describes problems with feeling or naming one's own emotions. In Greek, the word alexithymia actually loosely translates to no words for emotions. So I don't know if you've ever felt that way before, but I know that I definitely have. I can pretty easily identify when I'm having like a high level reaction to something, like but like generally I can identify it. So like I can say I'm angry. I'm really angry right now. But without further digging, it's really hard for me to figure out like what exactly I'm angry about, or like in what way I'm feeling this angry response inside of my body. And as I've been thinking about creating this video, I thought, this has been an issue in my life recently, but I was kind of trying to think back to other times in my life when it has been an issue also. And I can't even tell you the amounts of times that I've had to sit with my best friend on a porch, or in numerous study halls, or in between classes when I was teaching, or at lunches, just literally like talking through, trying to peel away to figure out what I was feeling about a particular situation. Even I remember being a teenager sitting in the bathroom floor at my house for hours on end with an exchange student that we had, who's my sister from another mister who lives over in Germany. But yeah, she and I would stay on the bathroom floor for hours at a time, sorting through a situation and trying to help name emotions and find words to describe the way that I was feeling. I am, like I said, an autistic woman. I'm late diagnosed. I was diagnosed at 36 and a half years old. Very recently, just a couple of months ago. For as long as I can remember and think back, this has been a problem that I've had. I also struggle with delayed processing, so that really slows things down even more. I like to joke a lot that like this causes problems in my relationships, because a lot of people around me are able to think and process much faster than I am. And my brain over here is just like a super slow dial-up 1990s computer that's trying to get onto the internet with the CD that came in the mail. And if you don't know what that is, yeah, I'm old. I just learned about this term recently, and I learned about it because since September of last year in 2023, I've really been working on a journaling practice, and look how great I've done. Look how big how much I filled up. So I've been working on this journaling practice, and I've really been working on identifying what it is I'm feeling, how to help myself, and how to move it through. So we were having a conversation one night about an issue, and he just point blank asked me, "What are you feeling? Like, what's going on?" And I just kind of sat there and just very blankly said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. And that really kind of sent through him for a loop. But it was true. Like, that's all that I could say in that particular moment. But of course, that's not okay, right? Like, that doesn't solve the problem or like help us move forward in what it is that we were dealing with at the time. I truly didn't know how I felt. So the next morning, I decided that I was going to go and use one of my favorite techniques for processing, and I was going to go and write in my handy dandy journal and sort it out. Writing is something that I often use as a way to pull things out of my mind. A lot of times I will say that, like, I don't even know how I'm feeling until I've written it down. Sometimes, like, my hand surprises me that I didn't really know that I felt the way that I wrote that sentence until I wrote that sentence. So writing is a really therapeutic, helpful thing for me. And if it is for you too, then these two journaling practices that I'm going to share today could be helpful for you. So last year in 2023, I read this amazing book, Glow in the Fucking Dark by Tara Schuster. It's awesome, and no, you can't have mine. I wrote all in it, and I dog-eared it all up, and it's all highlighted all over and written in, and so you can't have mine. Mine is very specific and tailored to me, but I do encourage you to go and get this book. It's really, really awesome. It's phenomenal. Inside of this book, Tara offers lots of different strategies for a journaling practice. And as I was going through them, I was just kind of like dog-earing pages and place marking for me to come back to when I knew that, like, okay, maybe I'm not having a difficult time today, but I know I will in the future, so I want to come back to this. And one of the first things that I saved was something called the Core State Journaling Practice. And this is going to be the first practice we're going to talk about today. This practice helps you with figuring out exactly what you're feeling, what it means, and then what to do about it. So how to help yourself feel better. And that particular morning after my husband asked me, "How are you feeling? What are you feeling?" And I said, "I don't know." This was the practice that I reached for. All right, so we're just going to go through it. And you can follow along down at the bottom of your screen. And then if this sounds juicy to you and sounds really good, consider picking up a copy of my friend's book. Okay, she's not actually my friend. We're Instagram friends, and sometimes she responds to me, and that makes me really happy. Okay, so step number 1. Get out your journal. She says, "If you don't have a journal at this point in our relationship, this is never going to work. I love you, and it was nice while it lasted, but maybe now is the right time to go our separate ways. We'll have the memories." So get yourself your journal out. The first real step is to write what emotion you're feeling, and if you're unsure, to use a feelings wheel. So this book itself has a feeling wheel inside of it, and maybe you've never heard of that concept before. But I'm going to pop one up here, and I'm also going to link one down below in the description box that you can download and use. I have this screenshotted on my phone, so when I sit down to do my journaling practice, if there's something that I can't like put my finger on and I'm not sure what it is I'm feeling, I will 100% go to this feeling wheel to sort it out. So a feeling wheel is a tool that starts with the most general of emotions and then goes out into more specific emotions. So what you can do in this feeling wheel that's in Tara's book, the general emotions are fear, surprise, sad, anger, disgust, and joy. So you could start by identifying which one of those you most feel attuned to, like which one resonates with the way that you're feeling right now. So maybe you're feeling anger. So from that point, you would go out to the next layer in the feeling wheel, and the options there are critical, combative, frustrated, angry, hateful, let down, bitter, and humiliated. So you would ask yourself, okay, do I feel any of those? Does any of that ring a bell? Does that give a name to the way that I'm feeling right now? And another little piece a little disclaimer I want to throw in right now. For this particular practice, really try not to think about your emotions as either good or bad, happy or sad, like black or white, because they're not inherently bad. Your emotions are your emotions. Your feelings are the way that you feel. So giving them a name isn't a bad thing. So if you find yourself in that sad, anger, disgust, even fear side of the feeling wheel, that's okay. Don't feel like you're a bad person or anything like that because of that. So say, for example, frustrated is the one that feels really good to you. So you look at frustrated, and then there's another layer out in the feeling wheel that goes out to annoyed or heated. So when you get out to the farthest circle in the feeling wheel, those are the most specific of emotions. And to me, those are the ones that really dial down the way that you're feeling in a particular moment. So once you've identified some of those feelings, you're going to write them down in your journal. Okay, so once you've written them down, the next step is to ask yourself, what is this feeling that I wrote about want and need? We're going to dig and dig until we find some core emotions. So if I chose, for example, anger, I'm going to ask that anger, okay, what do you want? What do you need? And if I've dialed it down to frustration, maybe the answer is, well, I need to fix X, Y, and Z so I'm not frustrated. Or I need to talk to this person so I'm feeling less annoyed with them. Or maybe I need to go and go for a run so I can run off some of this frustrated steam that I have. Tara says, once you're asking your emotions, what do you want and what do you need? You want to listen to the first thing that comes up. So don't try to search for what you think is the right answer or what you think you should be finding. Listen to the first thing that your mind and body pop up. So then once that thing pops up, so for example, with our frustrated one, say heated is the way that we're feeling right now. So then I'm going to repeat that process with the word heated. Okay, heated, what do you need? And I'm going to see what pops up. And you can do this in your head, but I definitely encourage you writing it out. And then maybe, so heated maybe wants to feel safe. Maybe heated wants to feel relaxed. Maybe we're not feeling relaxed right now, and that's where our frustration is coming from. So what you do is you just keep asking your emotions, what do you want? What do you want? What do you need? Until you arrive at something that feels good, an answer that feels good. Sometimes it can take, 2 times of asking those questions and digging through the layers of your emotions. Sometimes it can take asking 4 or 5 or 6 questions until you get to that core emotional feeling and can sort out, okay, this is what it is. This is how I'm feeling. Okay, now what can I do about it? So once you've identified what that core feeling is, you want to sit with it for a few minutes and think about how you can soothe it, how you can give that core emotion or core feeling what it needs. And this is going to be completely tailored and customized to you, so I really can't even give you an example at this point, but just think about, what does this need? What does my frustration need in this moment? What does my joy need in this moment? What does my gratitude need? What do my judgmental feelings need? What do my hostile feelings need? And just allow yourself to arrive there, to arrive at that answer to what do I need. This particular journaling practice really helps me be able to dial into the way that I'm feeling. So it helps me identify, but it also helps me figure out what it is, what it needs, and how I can give myself that thing that I need to help me either move it through or process it and let it go, but just to feel better on the other side of it. Okay, so that was the first journaling practice we're going to talk about today. Here is the second practice that you may try. And this one has really to do with your nervous system and identifying what is your, what state your nervous system is in right now and what steps you need to take in order to help yourself feel a little better. So this journaling practice is one that I've adopted from Erica Rapson. She's a neurodivergent coach and writer who goes by @divergentbynature on Instagram. I'm going to link her page below. You should totally go and follow her. She's awesome. You could even use this journaling practice as a quick thought process, especially like once you've learned how to do it, just to kind of like give yourself a quick moment of reflection, looking inwards, figuring out what it is that you feel. But as the writer that I am, I'm always going to turn to my journal to do this. If I have the time and the opportunity, I'm going to turn to my journal because I'm going to journal it out. So the first step is to ask yourself which of the 3 main states your nervous system is in right now. Do you feel like you are in a fight or flight stage? Do you feel like you're in a freeze stage? Or do you feel like you're in an optimal state for your nervous system? I know that that's an option when you're doing this process, but for me, like if I'm sitting down trying to figure out what I'm feeling, I'm not in an optimal state. My nervous system is very dysregulated and I'm trying to figure out why. So optimal is probably never going to be something that I write down. It's going to be something else. It's going to be one of the other ones, fight or flight or freeze. So once I've identified what state I think my nervous system is in a given moment, the next thing I like to do is go back to my feeling wheel and use it and figure out, okay, if I'm feeling, for example, that I want to fight, I'm feeling combative right now, what feeling is driving that state that my nervous system is in right now? That feeling wheel really does help. It helps so much, and I really encourage you to give it a try. Just to be able to like put your finger on it, like what exactly is it? So then at that point, once you've spent some time and you've identified what state your nervous system is in, and you've identified what feeling or feelings you are experiencing in this moment, the next step is to identify on a scale of 1 to 10, kind of how you would rate that feeling. So maybe you're feeling a feeling of flight and it's a level 5. It's pretty intense. It's not passive, not like a level 1 or 2, but it's not like a 10. Like I'm not actually fleeing a situation. I'm not to that point yet. So maybe that's what you're going to rate it as, somewhere around a 5. And you even may have multiple emotions and feelings at this point that you have to rate. So maybe you're feeling a level of some sadness, maybe some fear, and maybe some anger all at the same time with, different, more specific words inside of those emotions. And you need to go in and say, okay, my sadness, how would I rate that? Like maybe I'm feeling about a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10 for that one. But my feelings of fear, maybe I'm feeling like an 8. Maybe I really am afraid of something that's happening in my world, something that I'm struggling to process right now. So that's okay if you need to take some time. One time I did this, I wrote 9 pages in my journal. 9 pages. I just sat with my feeling wheel and I literally listed out everything that felt like it fit in that moment. And I went to every emotion and I started a new paragraph and I asked, what is it? How am I feeling? What are you feeling? And again, sometimes my hand knows more than my nervous system does, or that my brain is like processing. And I'll write something out and I'm like, yes, there it is. That's what it is. So it's okay if you have multiple emotions that you need to work through. Okay, so once you've sorted all of this out, you figured out what state your nervous system is, you have figured out what emotions you're feeling in the moment. The next step that you're going to take is asking yourself whether you're hyper aroused or hypo aroused. So what this step is going to do is help you identify, do you need to take a step back? Do you need to step down from this particular situation? Or do you need to take a step up? Do you need to take a step towards self-care and self-compassion and connection to somebody else? So how to remember this, if you would describe yourself by saying you're feeling hyper aroused right now, you're really bothered and really agitated by this way that you're feeling, you're going to need to take a step back. You're going to need to do some dysregulation practices, some slowing down of the nervous system. And then on the flip side, if you're feeling hypo aroused and you're really struggling to do anything, you're struggling to get out of bed, you're struggling to get off the couch, you're just struggling to manage, then you're going to need to take a step up. And it doesn't have to be a huge step. I'm not asking you to go and move a mountain, but just one small thing towards caring for yourself will help you feel better. Then finally, the last step here, once you've identified whether you're hyper aroused or hypo aroused, is to brainstorm some ideas for what it is that could really be helpful for you in this particular moment. So I'm going to walk you through the last time that I used this by looking at my journal and just kind of give you some idea of what this might look like. So the first thing that I identified was that I was in the fight-flight state for my nervous system. I was really feeling like I wanted to go no contact in this particular situation. I wanted to run. I was thinking and making jokes about moving, like, yes, flight is what made sense. There was a heightened sense of threat in my body that I needed to work through. So next I worked on that intensity scale and drilling down my emotions. So I wrote, I'm definitely feeling anger. I'm feeling let down. I'm feeling betrayed. I'm feeling disrespected. I'm also feeling layers of fear, of inadequacy and insignificance, exclusion, threatened, rejected, disillusioned. All of those felt really good for me in that particular, in this particular journaling session. So once I'd identified all of those things, I would say, I wrote that I'm probably around a 5 is what I would rate it. I said my nervous system is definitely heightened, more than slightly, but not overwhelming or consuming. Observing this situation means that I'm not whirling around in the center of it. So by doing this journaling practice, I'm able to give myself some perspective from my emotions and a little bit of distance so I can figure out what it is I'm feeling instead of spinning around inside of them. If I can figure out what it is, then I can figure out how to help myself feel better. So the next step was to figure out whether I needed to step up or step down. Was I hyper-aroused or hypo-aroused? And in this particular situation, I definitely said that I was feeling hyper-aroused. So I looked up some ways that I could work on down-regulating my system. Exercise is something that's encouraged when you're feeling hyper-aroused. So I walked on my treadmill, I did some yoga, and it just really worked on like moving that feeling through. And believe it or not, once I got done with this journaling practice and once I did some of those things that I brainstormed, I did feel a lot better, even like very quickly afterwards. So both of these journaling practices that I walked you through today are great at helping you with that alexithymia, with helping you put a name, give words to the way that you're feeling so that you can help yourself process and you can help yourself move through that particular emotion. It always takes me some time. Sometimes it can take me days. Sometimes it can take me 3 or 4 days to process something and move through it. But I have found that when I'm being intentional about it, when I spend some time journaling, when I spend some time really sitting in the way that I feel, I'm able to move through it much quicker. So that's all I have for today. I hope you really enjoyed it. I'm going to drop all of these resources down in the description box below, including Tara's book, the link to Divergent by Nature on Instagram that I talked about her journaling practice, as well as a copy of a feeling wheel that you can screenshot or download so that you can use it anytime that you are struggling with alexithymia. I hope you enjoyed this content today. Thank you so much again for being here. If you wouldn't mind liking this video down below or hitting that bell to subscribe, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks again for being here. Until next time. Bye.